How you doing, Francois?
I'm doing fine, thank you, Britt.
Thank you for being here. You're an idol and hero to so I call it our class that moved there on the heels of Guns N' Roses. You just changed so much for all of us. You're one of the first things a lot of me and a lot of my friends saw that was different and set us on a different trajectory than we originally thought when we got to Hollywood.
Yeah, people ask me like, we were interviewed for Flipside magazine. They put out our first single, "Feel It One Punch," and Al Flipside, the guy that ran Flipside magazine, he asked me, "Why are you doing this? Why are you playing music?" And I told him, "Because I want to get on stage and show everyone this is how you're supposed to do it. Okay, wear your guitar low, skinny guitar strap. This is the way it's supposed to look, not like all that other stuff." Because I came from, I was in high school when the Sex Pistols and the Clash and all that happened. And before that, all you had was New York Dolls, and everyone wanted Johnny Thunders. And I just wanted to bring that to the table, as opposed to when I came here to Los Angeles and all that hair stuff was happening. I was like, what is that? And there were two different schools. There was like the rock and roll people that went to the Scream Club and White Trash and to well, eventually Bar Deluxe, and they were very much kind of like more punk rock
Yeah,
and alternative. Because when I came to Los Angeles, there was a kind of a cow punk scene going on, and you had Tex and the Horseheads, you had Little Kings, and these bands didn't really play the whiskey or the Roxy and stuff like that.
right.
And we didn't play the whiskey and the Roxy at that phase, at the stage when I first got there. And later, when it was cool, certain bands like LA Guns thought it was cool to have us open up for them, and we kind of got in there that way, opening up for the bands. But for me, there was a real divide. It was like the underground clubs or the Sunset Strip.
And you literally have the song "I Hate the Sunset Strip," the line about meeting the girl of your dreams in the parking lot of the Rainbow.
Yeah, yeah. We signed up for some of those no bozo jam things they were doing,
Yeah,
and but I was still playing Scream Club and Janice DeSoto's club, and Raji's, line, uh, lingerie, any club that wasn't pay to play, I would play, and I was doing quite well. I was enjoying myself playing all those clubs and not playing the Sunset Strip.
yeah,
Um, the Sunset Strip's not stupid. We look at the weekly and they keep seeing this name, Motorcycle Boy, Motorcycle Boy. Why don't we get him in here? And they call me and they go, "Hey, do you have this is the whiskey?" They go, "Would you like to play the whiskey?" And I said, "Sure." Everyone wants to play the whiskey. They go, "Do you have 100 friends?" And I said, "Well, I hope I have a little more than 100 friends." And they go, "Can you sell 100 tickets?" And I said, "No, no, I'm sorry. Thanks anyway." So years go by, and now I'm like opening up for, like I said before, LA Guns, Slappy Skin, the rock scene, just getting in, kind of getting my foot in the door. And in the meantime, I started doing some of those no bozo jam things just for kicks. We called those gigs glorified rehearsal because it was just you're in front of an audience, run through your whatever songs you're working on. But I booked too many of them, and you can't overplay because then you can't ask the Scream Club, Dale Gloria, or Janice Garza for more money,
right.
which I did. I used to play those two against each other. Um, but that's another story. I'll try and wrap this story up. So I asked the whiskey, "Hey, listen, I kind of got to back out from some of these no bozo jams because I'm playing too much. Can you release me from my agreement with you guys?" They said, "No, no, 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 no. You got to said you're going to do them. We need you to do them." I guess because we were drawing a little bit and they didn't pay it on no bozo jam nights, so they were like making money off us playing there.
Right.
So, then I told the guys, "You guys, we got to get out of this thing." So I tried to pull. I tried to pull a Prince thing, where Prince gets up and does one song and walks off.
Yeah,
The movie Purple Rain.
yeah.
So I tried to pull one of those. So I told the guys, "Okay, I wrote the song called 'I Hate the Sunset Strip.'" We're going to get up there and play one song, walk off, knock over all the microphones. You know, so they'll fire us.
Yeah.
So up there, we did exactly that. One song, knocked everything over, and they loved it. And to this day, I can't play the whiskey without playing that song. It's got to be done.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And yeah.
And sometimes when we play there, and the whiskey upper management, we work with a guy called Jake who books the place.
Yeah, friends with Jake, yeah.
Yeah. And he, of course, he loves that song and he loves everything about it. And he said that the first time we played there, and we did the more recently, we played I Hate the Sunset Strip as our encore. Somebody above him asked him, "What's with this band singing this song about hating the Sunset Strip? That's not good." He's like, "You don't get it. You don't get it." Because you know, I guess if you were like were the owner or something, you'd be like, they're making fun of our song, our club. They're making fun of our club. But we still play it every time we play it. Have to.
Such a good song. You know, when I got to LA, I remember seeing your band and my mind being blown, but then thinking you'd be a dick and going to where you were working at Let It Rock in the middle of the afternoon. You have a Corona, and you were just cool to us as kids. You helped us get cooler. You weren't like a dick. You were like, "I'll buy these." You helped us do it. You weren't a dick. You know what I mean? But that was just how you felt.
I was a happy alcoholic, you know.
Yeah.
Rock and roll people come in, you know, why not? Hey, everyone, we're all friends.
But that was a scene down there as well. And you were like the mayor running that as well during the day, it felt like.
Well, I got really lucky. You know, I came from Spokane, Washington, and you know, I thought I was all cool and rock and roll because I was like one of a kind in Spokane, Washington. And I think maybe like you may have seen in that one documentary, I came to Los Angeles, and you know, I thought I was like the only one that was kind of dressing like Johnny Thunders, wearing Beatle boots and stuff. And I came to Los Angeles and I looked at everybody else, and they were like even cooler than me. Their hair was dyed blue black. They just looked. They had the clothes. And I was like, oh man, when am I going to stand out here? Um, I got really lucky that I got a job working at Jet Rag on Melrose, and from then on, I just continued to work on Melrose as long as I possibly could. It's a great gig because it was all rock and roll people working there, and I could drink on the job, and the hours were easy, 11 to 7. You know, I could make it to work by 11, get off at 7, go rehearse at our studios on Selma and Highland, and just do it all over, and go to clubs afterwards and flyer and just repeat, you know, over and over and over again. It was a great existence, a lot of fun.
You know how special it was when you were in it? I don't know if we knew how special that time was. You know what I mean?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Know how special that time was when we were in it. You know, I didn't realize how special that time was right then.
Yeah, we didn't know that it was just going to go away. And now in hindsight, I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of that whole thing while it happened. Your band Blackboard Jungle,
Yes.
I wasn't that aware of you guys. I mean, I knew you, but because it was a Sunset Strip, I rarely went there. So I may have never even seen you guys play, which I of course regret now. But you
Yeah.
guys have a splash of your own that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, we did good. We followed bands like you and Brent from Faster Pussycat took us under his wing, and we were caught between worlds, which was cool. We learned from you to play the coconut teaser, to do other things, and then would kind of not be cool enough for your world, but not be clean enough for the other world. So but then you end up just being your own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. For me, the fact that all these clubs like the Coconut Teaser existed, you could actually play a lot, but
Yeah.
not have to be dependent on the Sunset Strip.
Yeah.
And because we weren't like, if you want to call it a hair metal band, although we did have hints of Hannah Rocks or glam a little bit, we could play all those punk rock underground clubs, Al's Bar, all of them, so that we were never without a place to play. So having not to be so dependent on the whiskey and the Roxy for us was no problem at all. And eventually the whiskey and the Roxy started, you know, calling, and this time they offered money, which
Yeah.
was unheard, you know.
It was I felt so much better as I did time with the coconut teaser, because you could have your friends literally sit on the side of the stage while you played, and there were amps already there. It just seemed like something special there that, and not that much money to get in, is not as much of a mall.
Yeah, it was easy. Did you guys have to fall into the pay to play thing? Because I've talked to other people that do the pay to play thing, and it really worked out for them.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, we never did it. We built ourselves out of that Bozo Jam originally, and it just ended up a different thing. The Coconut Teaser, Len Fagan, Desi managed us for a little bit, Desi Benjamin. So it just went a different way. And we just looked at bands like you and Rattlesnake Shake and just tried to learn.
Cool, cool.
And you as a bass player, I played bass. It was the ultimate thing. As a kid, you didn't see that many bass players were that cool and band leaders. So it was amazing to see a band leader with this bass that was slung like a guitar. It was just mind blowing. Like I had never seen anything like it as far as a bass playing frontman.
Yeah, I like that white bass. It used to be brown when I first bought it at a pawn shop when I moved here, and then my drummer painted it white for me, and I used to throw that bass everywhere. I used to just toss it, and it was just really fun to just throw it. And then eventually it started breaking, so I kept super gluing it back together again. At one point, the headstock had shattered, and I actually glued it back with Elmer's wood glue, and I had these vices on it, so like I was able to make it really strong, and I continued to play it. And I still have it now, but it's virtually unplayable because it's so distorted and stuff, such a Frankenstein bass. But I have another white bass now.
It
So
was,
maybe have
yeah, it was just such a trip with your soaked hair. I got a rat's nest for hair. It was just this thing that was just so huge and cool. And I talked to the friend, it felt like the LA that when I got there felt like exhaust and hot sauce and not just the Sunset Strip. It felt like the burrito stands I was seeing down on Pico. It just felt like you represented that with cool, and it all metamorphosized through you and what you were doing.
yeah, like I said before, I just wanted to show kids, anyone watching, that this is the way you're supposed to do it. This is the just do this. This is cool. And
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to show off.
And you did.
And having fun showing off doing it and getting chicks. You know.
And you made that triple X record that it's so great that it's documented, that you have a great CD,
Yeah, I'm glad it got
whatever
documented.
we call it now. That had to be pretty cool. It was like you guys, Jane's Addiction and the Ultras, three bands that really, to me, represented LA after dark. Like these three bands that were on triple X records.
Yeah, someone said to me one time, "You guys are like the Sex, not we're not like the Sex Pistols, but there you go. You guys are kind of like the Sex Pistols. You put out one album and just that's it. That's all you get."
Yeah,
Mm, we could do another one, but I don't mind just doing the one because it pretty much summed up, what we were and what we are. And just like, in my perfect world, when I do a show, I'd like to just do three songs and be done. I think
right.
you've made your point after three songs.
Yeah.
But
There's nothing about you that wants to be boring, and you never were. You just don't want to bore people. You truly are punk rock, and it seems like you dread boring people, and I never remember being bored at a Motorcycle Boy show.
yeah, they could have been. They were very unpredictable at times, depending on how much I had to drink.
Right, right.
Because sometimes I got a little out of hand and bummed my guys out. But this might crack you up as a bass player. People always ask me, "What do you do in the band?" I always go, "I play bass." They go, "Oh, cool, you're a bass player. All right, cool, cool." And then they come to see me play, and they're like, "What? I didn't know. I didn't know." I had this neighbor that lived downstairs or upstairs or something, and he was aware that I was in a band, and I played the Redwood not that long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, and he actually came to see me play, thinking I was just a bass player, and he gave me the biggest compliment I've ever had from anyone. He just looked at me and he said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I go, "What are you sorry for?" He goes, "I didn't know. I had no idea." I guess he just thought I was just a dumb drunk rock guy that lived in the building. And when he saw me on stage, it was like he realized, "Whoa, dude, this
Just
guy's something."
oh God, yeah.
I just dismissed him as this drunk guy, But man, look at him up there. And he goes, I didn't. That was a big compliment.
It's amazing. You deserve it too. And how did you write the songs? Because the songs were all really good. It didn't matter the madness because the songs kind of sung themselves. I felt like a kid going to your shows. If it did crash, I knew the songs because they were so catchy. I think I even remember, I don't know whether I'm visualizing that rat's nest for a harem with a telephone voice like this, and just maybe it didn't happen, but just my vision of it looking back. How'd you come up with all those jams?
What was your vision? I'm sorry. What?
No, I was saying my vision was I remember hearing I got a rat's nest for hair and hearing the telephone voice. I don't know if that's what you were it just sounded like that line came through that way live. I just, my vision was lifting me through the roof when I would see him.
The lyric is, I've got a rat's nest full of hair. I never wash it, man. I don't care. Um, gosh, I'm reading my own
I just
lyrics.
seen, yeah, you were living it. It just felt like, whoa, this is fucking for real. This isn't the looks that kill.
It's
Like
true.
this guy's really living this. I think this guy might not have went to bed last night.
Sometimes I wouldn't wash my hair for like a whole month. And one time I was going, should I wash my hair today? Should I not wash my hair today? Because the dirtier it got, the cooler it looked.
Yeah.
And I was trying to decide whether to wash it or not. And all of a sudden, this tiny little spider came down on this little cobweb, and I was like, oh man, true story, terrible.
Amazing.
Uh,
How did you write those songs? What was the writing process for your songs?
I would work on Melrose, get home at 7, get a 6 pack. Well, I already had beer at work. Get some more beer and just sit at an amp with a distorted guitar and just make the guitar sound really dirty and just make shit up. I don't really call it songwriting. It's just making shit up.
Right.
Like Feel It, I wrote like that. I like the song by Ted Nugent called Free for All. It's dynamics where it drops in and drops out. And I thought, I want to do a song where it drops in and drops out like that. And I wrote Feel It, and that drops in and drops out.
Yeah.
And that was the inspiration for that. I got lucky with that one. That's a catchy song.
It's a great song. Your song and the Ted Nugent song. And
But
Cool
this
You and Me always felt just so large. All of them, man.
that song Feel It has been I never thought I was a songwriter until so many bands started covering my songs. Um, not just covering them like live on a performance, but actually committing them to their own CD. That's
Yeah.
mind to me. I mean, they liked it that much, they actually recorded it, put it on their own CD. One of the bands was the New Bomb Turks.
Yeah.
Another band was called The Dishes out of Chicago. And there's this one band that's out of like some weird place, like you not Yugoslavia, but someplace really foreign. And I saw their video, and they did this kind of kind of industrial metal version of both Feel It and the B-side One Punch. And I saw the footage, and they were playing to these huge coliseums, and they were doing Feel It industrial heavy rock. It was just the weirdest thing I ever saw. And
Wow.
I tried to contact them and say, hey, I have some more songs if you guys want to do them. And then I never heard from them. And then the videos were gone. And they were called The Junkies. I don't know if you can ever find them, but it was pretty impressive. You know, they bastardized the songs by making them industrial and then really heavy. But hey, I was still flattered.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And you guys are still playing yourselves. I'll see with the Zeros or something. You're still playing a lot, and not too much, but enough that you're there.
Yeah, you know, we're all older now and stuff. So, and of course, you know, when you're young, to be signed to a big label, you're the dream and everything. Well, that dream's kind of dissipated, you know, but we are still musicians. And whenever we get together, we really enjoy playing because my guys seem to really enjoy playing the songs because I think they are good songs and they
Yeah.
have such a good time doing it that every now and again we'll agree to a show, especially if the money's okay.
Right.
The Zeros, we were offered to open up for the Zeros at the Whiskey. The pandemic was still happening, but it was getting less and less. And then I got an offer. They asked me, will you do this thing. The Zeros want you to open up for them. And I was reluctant to play because everyone was still kind of wearing masks and stuff. And then Jake said, "Come on, it's 6 months away. It's 6 months away. Everything's going to be all cool by then." And I go, "Well," I said, "I'll do it for $1,000." And he said, "Oh, we can't do that." He goes, "How's five?" And I go, "No, 1,000." The reason I did that was because I didn't really want to do it because the pandemic was still happening. And that was my way of like kind of getting out of it. So I thought $1,000, that'll scare them away and that'll be fine. And a couple of days later, he called me back because he said, "Okay, we'll do it, $1,000." So now I
So,
kind of like, then I had to do it, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
whiskey, you can actually pay $1,000, you know, you can't say no to that. So the 6 months, as you know, time goes faster than when we were younger. All of a sudden, bam, it was showtime. And I was like, oh man, the pandemic's still kind of happening. When I went ahead and did it, I had not been to a club since the pandemic. I went there, no one's wearing masks. It's
Yes.
just wide open, whatever. And we did the show, and you know, I didn't get COVID, so it worked out. But yeah, that's yeah. We usually like we'll do the Redwood once every 3 months,
Okay.
and there's not many rock clubs left. And Jake usually throws us a bone here and there. So yeah, we'll do stuff here.
And you've always had such cool bands with like Eden and everybody in your band. Like you always have the coolest bands. I mean, they're definitely always felt like these ratty, cool looking, like usually a band has one cool guy like that. You have a band built of all like there's one Izzy Stradlin in a band. It's like they're all as cool as Izzy in your bands.
You're right. You're right. They are cool guys, and I'm really lucky to have them. You know, sometimes at rehearsal, I'm rehearsing. I'm going, I can't believe these guys are following everything I say. This is so fantastic.
Yeah.
You still play too. I saw you played the Viper Room or something.
We do once a year because and it's almost like a class reunion to bring a lot of us
Mhm.
moved on the heels of, we saw Guns N' Roses in suburbia. Oh, we're gonna move there. And like you say, you don't make it in the traditional sense of making it, but then you realize all these lives are affected and you bring everybody together once a year as opposed to thinning it out too much for us. So we do that usually once a year at the Viper and invite friends and stuff. And it's a really good time.
Yeah. Yeah, people ask me what it's like playing now, and I say it's kind of like a high school reunion. All the people come out of the woodwork. People that haven't gone to a club in ages because it's
Mhm.
us, they actually make the effort to come. So yeah, you get to see all your old friends, which is really nice.
Yeah, and it's hard. I always want to get the science down of you can't see everybody so quickly because they're all there for one night, then it's gone. You feel bad if someone flew out or something, just walking by and saying hi. There's got to be a better system, I think, than that, that night,
Yeah, I agree.
you
I agree.
know.
Hey, how would you explain Blackboard Jungle's music to me? How was it?
I would say, well, I wrote folk songs, not because I wanted to, but because that's just, I had a Springsteen songbook as a kid, and that's how I learned how to write, almost like drama-ish songs. And Kim Fowley was my mentor. So he would make me write 15 songs a day at one point. So I would play folk and then the band would interpret them. And Joel, the drummer, was, and I don't know if you remember Radio Babylon with Tony from the Cow. But yeah, so he had that influence. So he didn't, so it was just us. You know what I mean? It's caught between stations, is what I would say. We weren't as cool as you, and we weren't as glossy as the Strip. When I got to the Strip and I walked the Gazaris and I saw guys with hair to their waist, and oh my God, I can never be a rock god like that. We never had a big banner. We never had Marshall stacks. And that wasn't because we were too cool. It's just what happened. I started seeing you guys, and Desi Benjamin brought me around you guys more than those other things. And it seemed like more my ethic of what I was into was what you guys were doing than what was going on up there. I just didn't get that as much, but I did like it. And so just caught between it all. And then you just become your own sound, is what I would say.
Cool, cool.
And I was heavy influenced by Prince. Like you say, Purple Rain made me realize as a kid, like when he's like going at Apollonia through song, it made me go, wow, you can like kind of go at people through song. So I really enjoyed that
Yeah,
aspect.
That was a great movie. Um, you guys put out some product as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
And
We
what did you put out?
I mean, we put tons out, but we did a record called I Like It a Lot that Brent Muscat produced, and our friend Greg Workel they started a label, Church Records. And then we're lucky enough for Faster Pussycat to take us out on tour with them. And that was really like our big brothers. And it was cool. Yeah, it's fun and Kim Fowley, when he worked with us, he said, I need you to be like Axl Rose and sit Hollywood on your lap like a grandfather and tell the stories of the junkies and the hookers. And I said, but Kim, I don't shoot up and I don't fuck hookers. So can I just like kind of sing about moving out to California from New Jersey and just my version of what this is to me? And he's like, yeah. So that's just what it was. It ends up, I think Hollywood gives you a story as you move out. I don't think I moved out with the story, but as my girlfriend was a waitress at the Whiskey and she's making out with the guy from a band and someone tells me that. And my heart's, she told me she was 18 and she ended up being 30. Just the Hollywood ringer gives you a story to tell. And I was just like, I'm just going to tell my story like you were, you know what I mean? Just that's what I learned from guys like you and Guns. Just like whatever your version of it is, just tell it.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of songs about moving to California. That's what, or I think, in friendships too. So it was I'm proud of it. Still seems to resonate with the group and of people, and you become their band like you are. Like there's a small group, you make it in a different way. I had a friend write a suicide note, and at the end of it, which is horrible, years ago, he wrote, Brit, the band will make it. And that always bummed me out that the band didn't make it. But now in hindsight, that these people gather, you go, wait, it did make it, but just in a different way than I thought.
Britt, we may have not made it like, like the big show or whatever, but in my own personal experience, I did make it. I had a
Totally.
blast. I
Oh,
was a sister. I was, the Hollywood was my oyster. I could go to all the clubs, get free drinks, get it for free. I lived it without all the pressure of whatever it must be like to become one of those bands that just kind of implode and then they just have no money to show for it.
yeah. I really can, like you, I consider we made it now, but it just took time to understand that concept of what making it is and was. You know what I mean?
Think about it. You came here from what, New Jersey,
Yes.
all the way here, and you got to play all these clubs, which is a dream. All these people that like live all over the world,
Yeah.
if they just dreamed of having a taste of what you got a taste of, it would blow their minds. The fact that Pussycat took you guys out was fantastic. What a great experience that was for you. I mean, that's making.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I really like it's 100% is, and the friends that rally every year and us what we're doing here. It's so cool. Just when you're younger, you think it's this magical ring where these doors open and motorcycles and all things fall out free and phone bills are paid forever.
And in hindsight, you realize how incredibly lucky you were all along. You know,
Oh, I 100% like just so lucky and in the rainbow, which you don't love, but they put our frame picture looks over the whole like dining room, and that to me is my proudest thing of being a nerd from New Jersey coming out here. You know what I mean? And somehow getting that is my proudest rock and roll moment. You know what I mean?
that's pretty cool.
And things like you, like seeing my shirt, like France, being able to wear the motorcycle boy shirt and maybe make somebody go, oh, I got to check that out because Britt likes it. That's cool for me too. Our pool gets tighter as time goes by. Our pool gets tighter, and it brings people like you and I together.
True, true.
You know, it's you and Dave Roach and people that we might have been separate, but we come together and you and I talking about a guy's book that, wow, like that made me so happy that you like, Art's book about a different perspective of Guns N' Roses. And now my next book to read is Ready, Steady, Go, the book that you turned me on to. And I'm like, talking books with Francois. This is so cool.
That is cool. Have you read Ready, Steady, Go yet?
That's my next book. I'm reading a Bret Easton Ellis book right now, where he's going back to the '80s, and I'm almost done. And Ready, Set, Go's my next one.
You're gonna enjoy it.
It
It's
does
good.
look cool, like the swinging six. I mean, I have it. I just can't wait to delve into it, man.
You'll enjoy it. And
It feels like that stuff might have been a big influence on you, and you're cool. It's actually a little piece to the Francois mystery.
yeah, that the author of that book, Sean Levy, pretty much anything he ever writes is just amazing. You get sucked in. He's such a good writer. That's what that art reminded me of. He just sucked me in. Just such a good writer. Yeah.
He,
I
like,
texted him and told him how much I enjoyed his writing and stuff, and he was texting me back. And I accidentally said, "Hey, is it all right if I call you?" And I think he freaked out. So he stopped any all communication with me because he doesn't know. I could be some
yeah,
like stalker guy or something. I might text him eventually and go, "Hey man, sorry I asked for your phone number. I know I could call him, but sorry if I freaked you out. Asking if I could call you. Just let me know next time you write another book. I look forward to it."
wrote that book Castle on Sunset about the Chateau Marmont that was really good as well.
I haven't read that one. That's written by Sean Levy.
Yes,
What
yes,
are you
yes.
talking about?
It was
Yes, I have not
good.
read that one. I can only imagine it must be brilliant.
Yeah, it's good. It makes you wish you would. Had you ever have you ever stayed at the Chateau Marmont? I never got this. It's so many
No,
buildings.
but you read things about it and it makes you kind of want to check it out, you know. I guess I've driven by it many times, but I didn't really notice it that much. But it has a
Well,
lot of
isn't that
history.
weird? In Hollywood, we've been. I know no other place in my life as much as that city, and I've driven by that sign so many times, and I know nothing about. I went in once to meet somebody in the lobby, but I know nothing of that whole world. There's still so many worlds to explore.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, do you guys have a gig book? Any gigs coming up or anything?
I We're doing a show at the Whiskey in October, October 6th, and I think we're opening up for a band called Johnny Nasty Boots.
Okay.
I've never heard of them before, but I looked them up on YouTube, and they're kind of like psychedelic rock, and they're actually really good. And Jake just asked me if I wanted to do the gig, so I just can't say no to Jake.
Yeah. Like you say, I mean, at our age, you still got the best clubs in the world at your disposal to play. If you want to play the Viper Room, if you want to play the Whiskey, it's not like you have to mail a demo in. Here's what you
Well,
know?
it's amazing because they call me, which is
Yeah.
wow. And all my guys were like, "Can you believe we're our age and we still get to play the Whiskey?" I mean, that's fantastic.
Well, you can feel it now because it was a blur. I just remember, Jägermeister and just like not even remembering just like gigs, like what happened. Now you can actually look out and go, "Whoa, this is cool."
Yeah, true,
You know,
true.
it's a really cool thing, and you really taught so many people so much, and there's always and is still so much around you. When did you get there? When did you get to LA?
I graduated 1980, and then I went to college for 4 years. So probably 85, maybe 84.
Okay.
Because the Motorcycle Boys CD I think came out in 87,
Yeah.
or like um I worked really hard when I first got here. Um I didn't know anyone, but I worked on Melrose, so I kind of started meeting different musicians, and there were a lot of musicians that were just kind of like not really in a bands yet. And I looked at the LA Weekly, and I figured out that the um, first bar I went to was the Frolic Room because of the neon. Um, and then I noticed that the what's that bar? It was a bar. It was on Melrose. It was a punk rock bar.
The Anti Club?
Yes, the Anti Club. Thank you. I noticed that they had like a punk rock bar, and I went to the Anti Club and I started chatting with the bartender. Turns out she booked the place. Her name was Rain, and she was the sister of the girl that was in Pee Wee Herman's Big Venture.
E.G. Daily. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was her sister, and I asked her if she would book my band, Motorcycle Boy, and she gave me a Tuesday at 9:30. I was like, I've got a gig, I've got a gig, I've got a gig, knowing that that's like means nothing, right? But hey, it was my first gig in LA, and I didn't really have a band, and I had a drum guy that was kind of playing drums with me, but I didn't have a band at all. So I went to this guy, Alan. He called himself Giuseppe. He played in a band called Shire. He's working at a gelati store, um, serving gelati. And he kind of like was friendly with me. And I said, hey, listen, I got this gig coming up. Can you help me fill it out and just pull off this one gig? It's in about 2 weeks. He said, yeah, I'll play guitar for you. And I found somebody else, hey, listen, I got this just one off gig, can you fill in, And yeah, sure, whatever. So I booked some rehearsal at R&R Studios, which is where all the, when you're first starting, you rehearse at R&R Studios.
Was that the one on Selma right there? Is that what
Selma, it's still there, but it's just
Studios? There was a million different. Yeah.
yeah. And so I got them together. I just made up some songs and maybe did one cover or something. We had like 5 songs or something, I don't know. And we did the show, and it was a lot of fun. And then afterwards, they were like, "Hey, that was a lot of fun. You have any other shows?" I lied again. I go, "Yeah, I've got one in a couple weeks or so." Bam, the band was born. That's how I made the band happen.
That's a great story. It is the pressure of a gig. Wow.
And I've had a succession of guys come in and out and in and out of the band. And I've had this really odd luck of when a guy leaves the band, of getting another guy that kind of looks really similar to the same guy that just left. So there's transition is kind of like you wouldn't know. And
Literally the faces. Me and my friend Jamie go like Motorcycle Boy, like this Francois. You have to have this like cheekbone, like they look the same, like ratty, like punks, like they would. Yeah.
it was weird. I got really lucky in that I would kind of find guys that kind of looked like the other guy, and just kept going, kept going. But I've had the current lineup for like 20, maybe 30 years now.
Okay.
Mo on guitar, Eden on guitar, Kenny Toy still on drums, and me.
Love it. And how did you come up with the name? If I can ask, if you want to keep anything a mystery, how did you come up with the
I,
name?
I don't, I don't, I don't think it's that clever a name. I was going to call it Motorcycle Gang, Motorcycle something. I wanted to. I liked motorcycles a lot. I had bikes as a kid, and I finally got a Triumph motorcycle, which was just the happiest day of my life. An old beat up, um, flat black motorcycle. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was just
I
cool.
did, I did, I did, I did.
And someone said, "Why don't you soften it up? Motorcycle Boy, Motorcycle Gang's too scary." And it was that time when you had Jet Boy, so it was kind of glammy sounding too. So I kind of adhered to a little bit. Okay, maybe this can be something that can make me in kind of dual in the middle, kind of like where I could play both sides. And it's not the greatest name, but it's not real punk rock. But I think I picked it because like it allowed me to kind of play both sides a little bit.
And you became the name. The name became something more, probably because of who you are, and it fit.
I would hope so. Yeah. At one point, every guy in the band had a motorcycle. Just
I remember you reminded me of Prince, like the punk rock Prince on your bike with every girl, every guy wanting to be you. It was just cool, I mean, just cruising around.
yeah, I wasn't even really aware of that. I was just friendly with everybody.
Yeah, you're super cool. As kids, I remember that guy was like it, like you were really cool to us as kids. Could have been a dick. There were many guys that were dicks, and you were just like, cool. Yeah, get these creepers. They're cool, man.
I think that a lot of bands really like playing with Motorcycle Boy because I like every musician. You
Mhm.
know, I could never be a snobby musician. We're all doing the same thing.
Yeah,
Why would I be a snob to some?
I agree.
We had a lot of people be snobs toward me, and a lot of people there was a lot of jealousy
Yeah.
because I just threw myself out there and advertised and advertised. And I just did anything I could to make myself just stand out. And a lot of the hair metal guys didn't like me because, well, I wasn't hair metal. And it's like, why do people like, why do girls like that guy?
Right, right.
And because I would make kooky flyers. Like I made a flyer of me blowing a kiss like this, and it said, I love you forever and always. And then there was a blank line and it said, your name here. So you could fill in your name. And I made the flyer and I posted them all over Melrose. It's hilarious. You know, it's just stupid stuff. I would do stupid stuff like that. Some guys would be like, who does he think he is? What's going on?
It's amazing.
What a jerk. But I kind of thought I liked how David Lee Roth had no shame and he would do everything and anything to promote himself. So I did the same thing. I
Right.
had business cards made up that said Motorcycle Boy with the phone number, but it said Motorcycle Boy in big print, and then on top of it said, "Why not fuck?" And then it said Motorcycle Boy, and then bottom today exclamation point. That was my business card.
That's amazing, man.
It was later made into a sticker, which is fantastic. But
Man,
you know, you got to do stupid stuff like that. Also on the flyers, I used to always put, "Don't go see really small Motorcycle Boy. They suck." Just funny, you know.
hey,
And you gotta have a
totally,
sense, gotta have a sense of humor.
totally. And you had the BR before Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. Am I right? I remember seeing BRMC on everything for you. You were,
Yes, we were using that on flyers, and yeah, we used it a lot as kind of an iconic thing for us.
yeah,
And then Black the Rebel Club came by. I like that band; they're great. You
yeah.
know, probably should have called myself Black Rebel Motorcycle Club because I was using the word so much, and it would have been a cooler name. But you know, I didn't think of that. Yeah,
No,
I used to have that skull and crossbones from the Wild Ones on my back on my leather jacket,
yeah.
and the only way I could get it back before computers and stuff was I took a picture of it from the when the movie was playing, and I made a stencil. I sprayed it on the back of my leather jacket, which of course got stolen. Yeah,
But you were
but
rooted in those like those cool old movies. There was something so old about you guys. Not old, you were young guys, but something so old in West Side Story. It just felt like cool, like the 50s and or something. And you seem still to this day.
yeah.
Man. Well, thank you so much. Is there anywhere anybody can go if they want to find out about Motorcycle Boy, like people that want to music or shirts or anything?
Um, I don't really have a website, but
Okay.
there's like 3 different Motorcycle Boy sites that I didn't make, but other people made, and they offer some information. But the best way to get shirts is just to have to come to the shows, and
Okay.
where we sell them. Unless you personally want one, I'll send one to you.
I've got my shirt. Remember you saw me in Blackboard Jungle. That's when I first started talking with you. I wore it to a show 2 years ago, my Motorcycle Boy that I bought at your show.
Do you have a recent shirt? What's your shirt look like?
It's the white with the star, Motorcycle Boy.
Yeah, yeah. We have new ones that are black and it has kind of a silver star with the same logo on it.
Oh man.
And you might like one of those.
Well, I'm
I'll
gonna
send
come
you
down. I should come down to your show. When are you playing with that? When are you playing the whiskey?
October 6th.
All right, I'm gonna come down and get it then.
Okay, cool. I'll have it for you. I'll be waiting for you.
All right. Well, say goodbye to everybody and hang out so I can say goodbye to you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to my crazy stories. And thanks, Britt, for having me. Thank you, Britt.
Of course.